We're going to get started in a couple of minutes. There was a few hangups with the link. Oh.
It's okay, no rush.
Hi, Michelle. Hi, Janine. Hi, Bonita. Hi, Katie.
Hello.
Hello. I'm going to ask everyone to mute their lines. Thank you. Thank you. So we had a little hang up with the links. My apologies. Sometimes that happens. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I want to thank you all for joining as we unlock your creative genius and limitless possibilities with AI. Hi, I'm Dr. Gigi Smith, and I'm also known as the technology goddess. And I'm so grateful that you all are joining for what is becoming my passion. I've been involved in technology since the 80s. Yes, I've been around this block a couple times. In fact, I'll be 60 in a couple days. And one of the things I loved about technology is that it can just help people do so many things faster, cheaper, and better. And I love that. I love being efficient and effective with my time. And AI, just has opened me up. I use AI as my assistant these days because it provides so much ease and assistance to what I do as a human, and really wanted to share that with all of you. And so Lee Chazen is here. He is going to be sharing his possibilities with you. I met Lee about 1.5 years ago, and we were talking about chatbots. And so Lee built a chatbot for me. It's called the Dr. Gigi Surrogate. And the idea was to have something available for my clients to use when I wasn't available. And so my chatbot is available 24/7, and it interacts just like they would interact with me. And it's been programmed with, how I work, my thoughts, my methodology, and it's really amazing. But we're not going to talk about that too much. We're just really going to go ahead and get started with the presentation. And I want to introduce Lee. He's a visionary. He's a musician. He's been an early adopter of artificial intelligence for years. And I've known to love him and appreciate his wisdom and his genius. Lee, you're on.
Thanks very much. That was very kind of you. And Gigi, just before we get started, or before I get started, you might have some people waiting to get in while you were speaking.
Thank you.
I don't know. But while we're waiting for other folks to join, I'll just tell you a little bit about my background and why this is so fascinating to me. So I came from a family of people who worked in the helping professions. And my dad did a lot of work with special populations. They opened a biofeedback and stress management clinic back in the 80s. And so they were doing some real groundbreaking work. I just grew up where it's okay to talk about problems and issues facing humanity. And so naturally I got into education, and then I'll just go to the other slide here. Hopefully you can all see this, where I can get to the objectives of what we can quickly cover, because I'm super excited. Ever since GPT 3.5 came out about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years ago now, I immediately saw possibilities. And I'll tell you about those in just a second. Just want to quickly go over some of the objectives today, which is I want to be able to share with you, and Gigi does too, the power and potential of AI, because the narrative has been sometimes real real scary and sometimes upsetting, overwhelming. Some people are afraid of being replaced. They don't know if they're going to be able to keep up with the technology. So we're going to talk about overcoming fear and resistance. We're going to show you some real world applications so you can see that it's just open to possibilities, open to your imagination. We'll tell you about some supportive resources for continued learning as we get to the end. And we want to show you how you can get involved from the simplest idea, on out from that. So first, getting to, fear and the AI narrative. So for me, when 3.5 was introduced, I just felt like there was this buzz going around. Wow, what is this amazing, intelligent entity? What can it do? So I was more curious than anything. And one thing that I will share with you that kind of made me optimistic right from the start is I was reminded of this book that came out in 2005 by a writer named Daniel Pink, and it was called A Whole New Mind. And in that book, and I kind of bet my career on it, he was saying that in the future, there would come a point in time when it wouldn't be about being the specialist so much as it was about we would need creative generalists. We would need people who could see the big picture, who had a big vision and a plan. And we would need them to piece together all these bits of technology and show what they could do. So I became, I'll just be honest, immediately excited. I thought I was kind of getting ready to give up on that idea until ChatGPT showed up. And then I believed, wow, this is that moment in time. And now all we got to do is start creating systems and workflows and ways that this can work to help human beings. Sure, it can be profit making. Sure, it can be good for business, but it can also be good for us on an individual level. That was my thinking. But then all around me, there was this kind of negative talk going around. Most of the videos that I was seeing on YouTube around that time were about how it's going to take over. And I would watch some of these things and they would be terrifying. And I'm thinking, wait, it's 2 years later. None of that happened. Our society's still here. We're still functioning. Everyone's getting along. I don't know about mass layoffs, but I know some people are worried about that. So Gigi, on this, did you want to add in something about the fear component?
Yes. Thank you so much, Lee. A lot of people have fear about AI. And I remember when I started technology in the 80s and, there was going to be a computer on everybody's desk at work. People were like screaming, upset, like the technology was going to take their jobs. They saw it as maybe the coming of some religious prophecy, and there might be, some uncertainty, the fear of not understanding how it works. How many of you have some fears or uncertainty of AI? Let me see a show of hands. And okay.
I was going to add also real quick, I forgot to do this at the beginning, but it would be great if in the chat bar, you could tell us, you could either share your name or just share what you do and maybe your concerns or your hopes for the rest of this session, so that we can make sure that we address what you came to learn about. If we could just take a couple minutes for that, that'd be great.
Thank you.
And feel
your name, what you do, and what you came to learn.
And feel free to share also your webcam view of yourself, as it helps for communication and seeing if we're resonating with if it's making sense, because there are so many different levels of understanding when it comes to AI, and I want to make sure that this is connecting.
Yeah, thank you. So we've got Katie. She's in accounting. She's also an energy healer. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Okay.
So we're just going to go ahead and move on. So we were talking a little bit about fear, some of the fears that are out there.
Whoops, let's go back.
Sometimes the fear can be associated with losing control, maybe the fear of becoming obsolete. And, sometimes there's a lot of anxiety about the ethical implications of AI. And so what I want to do is talk about that and share with you. I created a EFT power shot, and it's a 60-second tapping to help to reduce your fear and anxiety of AI. So before we start, I want you to gauge your intensity level of, your anxiety with AI on a scale of 1 to 10, and just notate that score. We're going to do 60 seconds of EFT, and then we're going to see how that score goes down. So just do what I do and say what I say. Can everyone see me? Excellent. Even though I feel anxious about AI and its impact.
Even though I feel anxious about AI and its impact.
And if everyone, thank you. I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though AI feels overwhelming. And I worry about the future. I choose to love myself and trust that I can adapt. Eyebrow point. AI feels so overwhelming. Side of eye. I am scared of what it might change. Under eye. I worry about being left behind. Under nose. AI makes me feel powerless. Under mouth, I'm afraid of losing control. Underarm, I don't know enough about AI. 3 inches below the armpit, AI feels too fast and too big. And now we're just going to butterfly tap. I am capable of learning and adapting to new technology. I am open to AI. I am open to being friends with AI and using AI as my assistant. And I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And I no longer fear change. Let's take a deep, conscious breath in through the nose, visualizing a white, peaceful light, and then exhaling with an audible sigh, everything that is not peace and love. Now, has your intensity level changed on that same scale of 1 to 10? Do you still have that same level of anxiety with AI? And I hope your score has gone down, your intensity level has gone down. Let me know in the chat if you've noticed being less stressful about that. And while we get the responses, welcoming Bonita, you're a registered nurse, community healer. You're not afraid of AI, but not knowledgeable about it in detail. Thank you. Janine, you're an artist. Michelle, you're a customer success manager for a small tech firm, making benefit statements for client employees, and you felt a sense of relief. Beautiful. Katie, you went from a 6 to a 2. That's a big deal. A 40% drop in just 60 seconds. Great, great. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing. Lee, you're on.
Yeah, and we're not even done.
We're not even
seeing the full potential. So moving along here. So when we talk about AI, and I talk a lot about the great imaginative potential. In fact, I did a workshop at UC Berkeley back in July for some gifted teens, and showed them some pretty amazing possibilities. And I thought that I was going to be giving them things that they had already seen because they're teens and they're gifted and from all over the world. Turns out you can come up with some pretty original things that others haven't seen yet. And there's always going to be something new every day. So these are a sample of things that either I've developed already or I've developed with Gigi. The first one, and because we won't have time for all four, I'm going to ask you to maybe choose one so we can show you how it works. The first one, as Gigi mentioned, was a therapy chatbot that helps clients in between sessions. The second one I built right after this was a chatbot that is, because again, at the very beginning of this, I wanted to see, okay, I want to test the potential of this system and see if I can make it create something that it can't. And so far, every idea I've come up with, it has said yes to, or I understand you, or so I've felt like I've had a thought partner in this whole process. So the other one is, like I was saying, it's a future version of yourself, and it's built on asking you a bunch of questions, and then based on that data, it kind of constructs what you might be like in the future. Then you talk to that. I think it would be great for career counselors because a student or a young person or people of any age actually could ask, what might I be doing? How did I get over my obstacles to get to that point? And it will give you some answers. 3 is a holistic healing course of action that's built on, if you take client notes or if you have transcripts or even recordings of a client or a situation or a YouTube video. And I've got a demonstration there of Daniel Day-Lewis having a meltdown in one of his movies, and There Will Be Blood. And it created a holistic healing plan for his character, which is kind of fun to watch because when you watch the scene, you think, oh no, there's no plan for this guy. He's too far gone, but there is a course of action. And then last is a recording of you and a client. It would be with their permission that is converted to a transcript that you can then talk to. So it's like you're communicating. You're like taking an overview of you and the client having this conversation and asking, how did that last? Because I've done this now a couple of times with the client with their permission. And I'll say, what happened to so-and-so during the session? It seems like he wasn't getting it. And it'll go right to that point in the transcript and say, he wasn't understanding converting PDFs to PowerPoints using AI or whatever I was talking to them about. And it's remarkable. It looks like magic when you see it the first time. So in the chat window, if you could just say 1, 2, 3, or 4, we'll just dive into that.
I like the idea. And as we're getting feedback from the community, one of the things to really take notice, because everybody's a healer here. I know that some of the people, and you've indicated who you are, but think about this. What we're going to show you is a recording that we just supplied to AI, and it came back with some great possibilities. But it can also accept inputs of audio, inputs of video, inputs of just case notes. And you could just put that in and say, hey, tell me, how I can make this Reiki session better for this client. And then it'll come up with some really interesting, juicy tidbits. And so what I'm hearing is most people want to see about 2. The chatbot is the future version of yourself that gives you advice.
Okay. Well, this was, and we can come back to this if there's time at the end. This was the EFT therapy chatbot. And if nothing else, you could at least see that on my there's this platform called Flow GPT where I put all my various creations. This one already has 1.4 thousand viewers, and it's had over 342 conversations. So there seems to be demand. This is with like very little promotion at all, and it has not been monetized. So at least you can see the potential before we get to the one I'm going to demonstrate. Okay, so this one now is the Future Me chatbot. 17,000 views. It's up to 7.6 thousand conversations. I'll show you briefly what it looks like here. Oh, this takes you to something called Otter.ai, which is an AI platform that I really love. And it starts out with, hey there, I'm Future Me, your friendly AI assistant. So we make it really friendly. My purpose is to guide you on your journey to become the best version of yourself. I'm here to ask you some thought-provoking questions and have a conversation that will help uncover your strengths, goals, and hidden talents. I would also say, like, if you're a writer or a thinker or a creative person, this can get you out of a rut, sometimes just answering these questions. So what it does is, I'm here to help. Let's start by getting to know you better. It will ask you all these questions. Now, I could program it to go back and forth so it feels more like a conversation. I really could. In fact, I might change it. But just on these 20 data points alone, it will then construct a future version of yourself. I wish we had time in this session where I would just go ahead and give it a bunch of this information and then run it. But what it does is it creates a dialogue. And I mean, imagine like in your practice having an intake chatbot where, you know, it's the intake you would normally do. And this could also be for customer service too. Talk to our chatbot about your biggest concerns, your biggest obstacles you're having. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We're here to help. And then you could run comparisons to see, okay, what's working better? Our salespeople out in the field, or maybe you have that same salesperson monitoring this information, right? So we'll go back to the slideshow. And Gigi, what do you think? Take some questions about this at the end, or maybe field a couple of questions right now since people asked about it.
Let's hold all the questions to the end so we can make sure we have enough time. But really, I'd like you all to see the implications of this. The implications of this technology is that you can work smarter and not harder. And I love that. I love working smarter and not harder. And, you know, this could be automated to the extent that, you know, whoever your clients are, they can just, you know, interface with the chatbot, but then have a rich, meaningful dialogue with you, you know, about their treatment plan or their care or whatever it is that you do. It could be that you're a massage therapist and you want to know, how can I better serve my clients? Well, one of the ways is by creating customized massage therapies to them. And everybody would love that, to know that your hands are going to be directed on certain parts of their body that need the most care. Or if, you know, you're a nurse and you're providing holistic healing, well, you can put your case notes into AI and then come up with some ideas that you have never thought of. And so by working in conjunction with AI, it can make your life so much better. And you're a better service provider to your clients. And I think they love that. Go ahead, Lee.
Yeah, thanks, Gigi. So since I think we do have time, I want to go back and show a little bit of the Daniel Day-Lewis scene, just because it's very real, it's very human, and it's like, imagine having a client or someone, a customer, anyone like this, and then having this assistant analyze what that means. Just because I even just came up with this idea yesterday as like what would be really interesting, what would be another test to run. And so if everyone can see, no, that's the wrong one. That's not it. That's not it. There he is. You can see Daniel Day-Lewis in this scene, right?
Yes.
What did you say? You've come here and you've brought good and wealth, but you have also brought your bad habits as a backslider. You've lusted after women and you have abandoned your child. Your child that you raised, you have abandoned all because he was sick and you have sinned. So say it now. I am a sinner.
I'm a sinner.
Say it louder. I am a sinner.
I am a sinner.
Louder, Daniel. I am a sinner.
I am a sinner.
I am sorry, Lord.
I am sorry, Lord.
I want the blood.
I want the blood.
You have abandoned your child.
I've abandoned my child.
I will never backslide.
I will never backslide.
I was lost, but now I am
I
found.
was lost, but now I'm found.
I have abandoned my child. Say it. Say it.
I've abandoned my child.
Say it louder. Say it louder.
I've abandoned my child. I've abandoned my child. I've abandoned my boy.
Beg for the blood.
Okay, so the bandwidth is having some problems, but I'll just break there because especially if there's empaths in this group, you're going to take all this in and it might be pretty powerful for this time of the day in the middle of a workday. So if you can see this, all I did was I used Gemini Pro multimodal, right? Now up at the top, you'll see the prompt. And I'm just using matter-of-fact language. So it is referred to as natural language programming, meaning for those of us who are not programmers, but we're expansive in our language, we're creative, we have ideas, be as expressive as you want. Experiment with that. Go as deep as you want into your fears, your ideas, your visions, and test it out. So in this case, I said, I would like to demonstrate the great potential of AI in therapy, coaching and healing, arts and holistic medicine, and thought of a way to do this. So I'm sharing something about myself first, then, which it turns out helps in the analysis. We could, for example, take a look at the scene from a movie with Daniel Day-Lewis called There Will Be Blood. Lewis's character is Daniel Plainview. Based on the scene and the tone and demeanor shown by Daniel Plainview, can you demonstrate a holistic healing strategy that can include any of the healing arts? I didn't know what I was going to get back. But what I got was, so this came out instantaneously, where it says, Harry lashes out at Eli Sunday, which is interesting. I didn't introduce any of those names, so it picked up on the transcript. He expresses a deep sense of betrayal and a profound emptiness now that his adopted son is gone. The scene showcases a complex interplay of suppressed emotions, culminating in a violent outburst. Plainview behavior suggests a deep-seated pain and a lack of healthy coping mechanisms. Well, based on this, it recommends, and I'll show you how you can come into the process so that it's not just AI. It recommends somatic experiencing, trauma-informed therapy, art therapy, mindfulness, and meditation. And it just keeps going. So back to this. So what I'm suggesting here is that it's giving you options. It's not talking down to you, saying this is what you need to do. And even though it sounds like an authority figure, you should ask it follow-up questions. But now you've got a partner in the room basically to bounce ideas off of. That's how I see it. You can share your deepest thoughts, concerns, and ideas about anything. And believe me, during those first few weeks that it came out, I was up late into the evening asking the most profound things that I can't even share. The most profound things about creation, the universe, what is the role of human beings. I just went as deep as I could because I wanted to know. Think about it. It's built on 1 trillion tokens of knowledge. It's basically all of humanity. I feel like they're talking to all of humanity, not technology. You're talking to the sum total of our human experience, and that is a gift.
Yes. You know, one of the questions that we had that's really appropriate to this one is, are there any of these AI platforms that we can access for free, and how does it all work? Most AI platforms have a free component to it. And the more you use it, you know, there's some options for paying up. But, you know, Janine, you're an artist. I've used ChatGPT primarily as my tool. And, you know, it's created logos for me. And all I do is say things like, hey, I need a logo based upon sacred geometry. And these are the colors I want. And then it'll come up with some beautiful options. And yes, we're going to talk about more platforms in just a moment. Perfectly timed question. Lee.
Oh, is there a question in the chat window?
Yeah, but I just thought, so if you could go over some of the apps,
Oh, yeah.
you know, the platforms that are out there. I know you're planning to discuss Otter and a few others.
Oh, sure, sure. So, yeah, so one is, let me see if I can pull that up. Had it a second ago. 1 second. Go back here.
Well, Lee is looking for that.
Oh, yeah.
Can you all see the implications of this, you know, for your own lives? You know, the implication for how your work could be made easier. And, you know, one of the products that Lee and I have been talking about is, wouldn't it be great to match, you know, people, you know, our clients with who we serve? So we don't have to go out and hunt and peck and do all of that stuff ourselves, but we can find who our tribe is, speak directly to the tribe with their pain points. And wouldn't that make it so much easier? Well, we're working on a platform that does that, to match, you know, you as a provider of services with the clients that need you in your particular brand of assistance. And then you'll be able to talk to them about their specific pain points. And when you can talk to people and touch them in their heart and speak directly to things that are bothering them with solutions, it's on. Go ahead, Lee.
Yeah, so on that point of matching, after 2 years of working in AI, I've kind of come to the conclusion that's really what everyone's trying to do. Match who you are with the people you're working with. Match the product you're working with the person who needs it. Match your personality style with their personality style so you can have an effective communication. It's all about, you know, and the same goes on back to my teaching, where I have to communicate what I understand about this knowledge and put it in terms of language and understanding and style and form of intelligence of that student I'm working with. So everything's been about matching. Well, I'll quickly share this with you since we have a little bit of time. These are the ingredients of the EFT chat bot, the surrogate, the coaching, the therapy bot. And this goes on for about 10 pages. And what I did is I sampled all of Gigi's work as a PhD. I looked at her dissertation. I looked at all of her YouTube videos and scanned that, took the transcript. I went through the YouTube also to get her style and manner of speaking. Now, this is not me taking notes. This is the AI taking notes. And so it goes on into framework of the prompt, the goals of this prompt, the audience, the persona and role. This goes on for 11 pages. And so that chatbot is taking all of these instructions. Now, in an upcoming webinar, I'm probably going to do some discussion about something called a meta prompt, where I don't have to actually sit down and write this. It's kind of like a prompt to create the prompt. So there was a step that makes this even easier, where you just say, I would like you to create a prompt that can be used to create the chatbot. And that prompt should create a chatbot that does these things. And then it will put this, like I can take this, copy and paste it, and say, turn this into a more effective prompt, and it will, because it knows the language that it needs to know. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, and one thing to note, Now, this was a really complex 11-page prompt. Most prompts don't have to be that involved. You know, you might have a prompt, you know, let's say you're an artist and you're interested in being inspired about, you know, what to create next. You could just put some ideas and thoughts into the chat bot and then see what it comes up with. It'll come up with some ideas for you. Will has a great question. I met a woman who created an illustrated book dealing with spirituality and women using AI. Are there any thoughts about which platforms might work best? Lee, can you give us some advice on that?
What platforms might work best in terms of
She fed, you know, a draft, you know, and it was you think of it, it wasn't like a novel. It was like, you know, it was like almost like poetry, and you know, and the book and the platform, whatever she used, created the artwork and, you know, helped her edit even what she wrote. And I'm like, what platform creates artwork?
oh
You know,
yeah.
and she had the book, and I'm like, well, this is pretty spiritual. I wouldn't have thought of AI as being that, you
Hmm.
know, effective at creating these, you know, I mean, it didn't look completely made by humans, but it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So you mean just the artwork?
Yeah, it created the artwork for her. All of the artwork was completely by the AI. And it even, as if I recall correctly, it's like even what she wrote, you know, she sent it through whatever kind of editing enhancement, you know, you know, like I guess what you would do with Chat GPT anyway, but it's like, and then it brought it all together and created this book. She had the book in her hand.
Yeah.
It's like, because this was created by AI. I'm like,
Well, think about this. It's going to do things that humans haven't thought of in terms of what we can combine. Now, I can tell by the type of work that everyone does here that you all probably have more active imaginations than and more of an active like prefrontal cortex in your brain than say the general population. And so what that allows you to do is create a prompt and then challenge ChatGPT to discern something that you cannot. So, for example, I mean, I've been playing music since I was 7 years old. I play the French horn, and I've been sitting in symphony orchestras. And I thought, well, what if there's a message there in an orchestration, and we can feel it, but we really don't understand it? So I ran the link for this brass performance. And it was weird because no matter how many times I listened to it, there's this sense of joy and relief at the end that I can't duplicate anywhere in my normal life. And it happens every single time. So I asked Gemini Pro Multimodal to dissect that for me. And I said, well, what's happening at 1:47 into the music? And it says, there seems to be some dissonance and some, you know, it described exactly what I was feeling, but then it comes out of that, resolves into like this B flat major chord. Well, Gemini Pro pointed that out and gave all the reasons why people would feel joy. So you could then take a piece of, let's say you were doing some therapy and you have a piece of music that you think provides relief, that has always provided relief. You can load that in a multimodal AI and ask it, based on what we're hearing in this music and what we're feeling and how it transcends out of this dark place to a happy place, how can I have a 1-hour session that matches that? And it will probably give you an answer. And to me, that is, you know, that's a great moment when that happens.
Yes.
So I don't know if that answers the question, but
I'd like to also chime in. There's a lot of great tools out there. There's Gemini. I use ChatGPT. I posted the link in the chat. ChatGPT offers some free options. I wrote a book recently called Boundary Badass. And I used ChatGPT to help me develop not only the artwork for that book, but also the content. And I felt really confident about that. And I felt as though I still did it, even though I received assistance. You know, I use word processing tools all the time. And so, I access spell check and grammar check. That's AI. And so the way you access artwork there, it's so simple. You just say this, please create an image that is, for example, this is what I said. Please create a logo for my business, Serendipity Innovation, based upon sacred geometry and the colors pink, beige, and green. And that's all I said. And then I hit enter and I let it come up with some options. Now, Benita asked a really good question, and I want to go back to that, or she made a really important statement. And that is, would it be advisable to research the results, or is it pretty accurate? You so have to check the results. You need to research and ensure that whatever you get from ChatGPT is correct. It's not always correct. And so, you have to apply your own due diligence. Thank you so much for bringing that up, Benita. You might ask, you might ask it to draw a human. And if you look carefully, you might see that the human has 7 fingers on one hand. So that's not an accurate representation. And so you would just, in that instance, ask the tool, can you regenerate that with a greater accuracy toward the human form? Those are just ways that I interact with the tool. And let's see, there's another comment here.
I was just going to add real quickly so they could understand what they're looking at here while you're looking over that question. So this is a platform called Poe.ai, P-O-E, and these are some of the LLMs or large language models that are available. And so there's a lot to choose from. And all you have to do is sometimes I'll get a response and I'll think, well, that's good. But let's see what this other one says. Let's see what Claude says. And you just put the @ sign and then Claude in the chat window. And now it's going to ask Claude the same thing you just asked. And you can do that all day. So if I don't like the image that Dolly is producing, I'll go to, Playground or Stable Diffusion or one of the others. So far, Dolly's been my favorite as far as making images. So
Is that free or do you have to have a subscription?
A lot of them are free to a point, and then it gives you a limit. Like you can use this 7 times or 10 times a month or 2 times a day, and it'll tell you where you're at. Because I use this so much, I pay for subscriptions on Poe and also ChatGPT Plus, so I can use their most advanced models. Because I feel like I've just got to be like where the state of the art is.
And I think to that point too, when you're using maybe the free version of ChatGPT, you might not be able to create images. I am able to create images because I think I'm paying $20 or $40 a month. And, initially when I first started using ChatGPT, I had the free version, but I used it all the time. And I really see it as my assistant. So I gladly pay $20 a month because assistants usually cost more than $20 a month. And so, most of these platforms certainly offer a free version, and that's great, to test the waters, to get used to it. But if you want to, if you really want to have some meaningful work, you might want to just pay the subscription of what maybe your favorite AI tool.
Yeah, so I just want to present a couple of other things you can do that we have just enough time for, which is when we use the term data set or knowledge base, we're really just talking about what other information can I give the AI so that it doesn't scan the entire, what they call the corpus text, the whole body of its training data, but instead you give it something very specific to work on. And so for me, I don't know about you folks, but I get a lot of stuff done just walking around because I use this transcription app called Otter. There's others out there, but it's just the best. and I've been using it probably for 2 or 3 years, I'll record something on there. Like if I have to do a proposal or an email, like a really complex email I'm working on, or I'm trying to get some notes for a strategy session or something. I'll come back, look at the transcription. I'll go to the Otter website, pull it off of there, copy and paste that into either a Google Doc or right into the chat window and ask ChatGPT, can you turn this into a proposal? And it just instantly does. Or can you transcribe this into an email? So that's been super helpful. As far as data sets, because I would love to do a separate workshop just on the transcription apps because there's a whole bunch of things you can do there. All right, so what we have in this slide is, let's say you're building a practice or a set of.
We have about 2 minutes, Lee.
Okay, yeah. So what we have here is, I might want to use maybe something from Dr. Andrew Weil. This is like his breathing technique. I could then drop that in as an attachment or copy and paste it and say, create a session for my client here. Here's the information about this person. Match it with this breathing exercise. And what do we have? What can we derive from that? Or you can load other data sets like Myers-Briggs or Kohlberg's levels of moral development, or client information from your communications. All those things are data sets. And now we get to the Q&A.
And one thing I'd like to say about a data set, it sounds like a really big, complicated word, but really a data set is just a source of input. It could be a case note, it could be an audio, it could be a video, it could be anything. And you could just, as Lee said, drop it into the prompt of whatever AI platform you're using and say, hey, based upon this, create that. And now what I'd like to share with you all is a couple of ways that you can dive deeper in with your knowledge of AI. So I am going to share my screen. Okay. And so we have 3 tiers of services. We have a entry-level course that dives a little deeper than what we talked about, with some actual hands-on on how to use some various tools of AI. It's a 1-hour course. It's a self-paced course.
Gigi, I'm not seeing that on the screen.
Oh, thank you.
Maybe it's the other tab. I don't know.
Let's try that again. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. So our first entry point, it's an entry-level course, a 1-hour self-paced course on how to use the various platforms. It's going to have some hands-on, this is how you do these things. And it will also include 3 free EFT power shots. And this will help you to conquer your fear of AI, help to address your frustrations with technology, and fear of change using emotional freedom techniques. It also includes a step-by-step AI guide with foundational prompts, shortcuts, and best practices. And you would also get exclusive access to our Facebook group, and that cost is $97. This session would also include a one-on-one 15-minute consultation with me and or Lee. The second tier is it's a 4-hour AI empowerment course. It too is self-paced, helps with prompt engineering, content creation, and automating your workflow. So this is really about working smarter and not harder. This also includes 3 free EFT power shots, And these power shots are 60 seconds of emotional freedom strategies to help conquer the fear of AI, reduce your frustrations with technology, and cope and better understand your fear of change. This course also includes a personalized AI strategy plan, a weekly group coaching and support on Facebook, and case studies. And these case studies show real world applications of people just like you that are using AI to work smarter and to achieve their results faster, better, and easier. And who wouldn't like that? So the cost of this, the second tier is $697. And so that's the pay in full cost. We also accept 3 payments of $247 if payment plans work best for you. And all of this information will be provided in an email, so you don't have to worry about remembering this. And the last offer is the AI Mastery Program. And so what you get is everything that I spoke about earlier. It includes an 8-hour, very intensive self-paced course. It's designed for creatives, healers, and coaches that are really serious about scaling their business, enhancing their client experiences, and fully integrating AI into their workflow. This program offers personalized support, VIP access, and advanced strategies. So what's included? An 8-hour mastery course, self-paced course with advanced AI tools, customized workflows, and personalized coaching. So you don't have to worry about, well, how am I going to do this? We got you. It also includes 3 EFT power shots to empower your use of technology, conquer your fear of AI, address your frustrations with technology. You know, when a link is supposed to show up here and it doesn't, well, sometimes that happens, and not be flustered. This also includes an AI business integration plan. So this is really a very comprehensive roadmap to you and your services for implementing AI in your business to include the marketing, client services, content creation, and more. And let me tell you, when it comes to marketing, that was something I really had a lot of resistance toward. I didn't really want to do it. I didn't like the tools, and I just ran up against a lot of issues. And so this, you know, using AI has helped me to create great stories, great ads, and again, it will produce the imagery that you need. This session also includes a one-on-one, various 4 one-on-one strategy sessions with Lee and or myself. We include a number of advanced AI resources and a certificate of mastery. If you sign up for this, the cost is $24.97 if you pay in full, or 6 payments of $449. The great thing about the AI Mastery Program is that you can get access to our complete library and 10% off any, you know, future courses that you want to take, and access to our VIP Facebook group. And so if you are ready to scale your business and fully integrate AI for exponential growth, just respond to the email that's going to come either later today or tomorrow, or get on a call with me. And my information is also will be located in the email. And so now I want to turn it over to questions.
Yeah, anything in the presentation that was confusing or you'd like more information about, feel free to ask.
I have a question and a couple of comments. It's like it's so interesting that thank you so much for this. And but that ChatGPT didn't say, oh, if you pay for the monthly, illustrations available there. It's like it's almost like, no, I can't do it. So, but I will look into the subscription because I have not utilized a subscription in AI yet. But I just want to say about a year and a half ago, Gigi did a session with me. Dr. Gigi did a session with me about my huge resistance to technology because I would be a Luddite, a troglodyte, left to my own devices. All this stuff is like, in an ideal world, I would touch very little of this, and I don't trust AI and all that kind of stuff. But I'm actually using AI more than I could have possibly imagined. So thank you for this. I mean, especially again, like speaking to creatives and just, yeah, this is great. So thank you so much.
The other one that I really wished I would have had time for is I use something called GPT-4o, but
That's what I use
for audio, and I will ask it questions. Like I'll just be walking around, and let's say I'm walking to a coffee shop. I'll say, I've got several things lined up, but I'm not sure which thing I should do first. And it will tell me based on your priorities, because it'll keep a thread, like a whole memory of everything you've ever asked it. And it will know. It will say, well, based on the things you're working on, I would recommend doing these 3 things first. That saves me a bunch of time. And if you're a solo entrepreneur, it kind of helps to have that, like the smartest, almost the smartest person available, like right there.
I do use 4.0. I haven't used it quite the way you've described it, so thank you for that information. But again, what you just said is so triggering. The idea of it's tracking me and getting to know me that way. It's like well,
it's weird at first. It is weird, and yeah, I have to do more.
It's more than weird. It's scary, but I'm trying. Again, but I want to be clear. I had a session with Dr. Gigi a year and a half ago, and I had this massive breakthrough miracle that happened. I was really so stuck in trying to create a platform for my coaching, and it was miraculous, and it's like almost within, I want to say like 24, 36 hours, it's like I stumbled across this platform that was the perfect for where I am at my level of, I've been looking at Kajabi completely, torturing myself and just all this stuff. And then I found this very easy, and in one weekend, was able to create the platform in a way that had some kind of, aesthetic appeal, and that's easy for, clients to use. And I mean, it happened within like 24, 36 hours of my session with Dr. Gigi. So I just want to say that there's that tapping and the technology resistance. Woo! If there's something going on.
I love that.
Well,
you also asked about what a power shot is. Yeah. It's an EFT power shot. That's one of our latest creations. It's a 60-second, boom, boom, boom to address whatever issue you have. So it doesn't require a lot of time investment. We actually did a EFT power shot earlier today to address, some fears of AI. And I'd love to share that with you. And in fact, I will be, there are 3 gifts that I have for you all. And they will come over email. One is a downloadable PDF with samples, prompt samples, best practices, and shortcuts for people like us, healers, creatives, and coaches. There's also a one-on-one coaching session with me. And I'm going to send this recording so you all can re-listen to this and have that available. So those are the 3 free gifts that you're getting just for coming. And so I want to thank each and every one of you. And if, there's some ideas that you have for more services, we'll schedule a one-on-one consultation to see what that looks like. Any other questions before we close?
I just have one suggestion. That email, if you can separate out the folks who registered but maybe didn't show up, because I know I had some technical difficulties. I don't know if anybody else did. Like yes. it had it down as like 11:30 p.m. And not, so just there may have been other folks who wanted to be here and maybe they gave up. So they get the information too.
Well, and I got to tell you, being in technology myself, I get highly frustrated when things don't work perfectly. And so this time, when I was getting texts like, hey, the link's not working, You know, another day, I promise you, I would have been flustered. My heart would have been beating out of my chest. I wouldn't have been able to take a breath, but I was like, you know, it's going to work out. It's going to work out. Easy peasy. And it did. You know, the right people showed up. Those people that weren't able to attend, they will be able to see the replay and also get the value. So I want to thank you all.
Yeah, I want to thank you for the opportunity as well, too. It was great to share this. I feel selfish sometimes, just like hoarding all this information. And it helps, by the way, to be in communities where you're sharing with people. Like I know there's several like WhatsApp or Signal or messaging threads you can get into. And it does help because it keeps me current. Problem like with my particular group is they go too deep and too far. And I thought I was behind. Then I just got back from this cross country trip recently and I found out, no, you're actually too far ahead. You need to slow it down. And so anyway, I hope this made sense to everybody and
Yes.
you can use this information.
Yes. Any remaining questions, comments, concerns before we close?
What is your understanding of the current usage of AI in terms of the US population? I was surprised when I heard it was still pretty low. It seems like it's everywhere, but not as Leah alluded to, it's that there's still a small percentage, relatively small percentage of folks who are using it regularly. Do you have a sense of the
My
percentage?
sense is that only 10 or 20%
That's
are
right.
probably using it at a really high level
Mhm.
and regularly. But I think like 80 or 90% are familiar with it and are using it
Mhm.
to some extent, probably like the way we started using Google at first, like which is very simple, like, what do you know about this? Like 2 or 3 words. No one's using the mega prompts,
Mm-hmm.
these giant constructed workflows. That's a very small percentage. So I hopefully this will put you a little bit ahead of that curve.
Well, and especially now that you're a lot more comfortable with technology, Will. Bonita, you have a question.
Yes, I was gonna say, the very first question you asked was about what fears do we have about AI? And, this definitely helped alleviate the obscurity. Like I said, it wasn't a fear, it's just that we have so much technology that's accessible in this day and time that I have not even really delved into AI. I knew it was there, but it's like another thing in technology. Oh my goodness, I just can't right now. But now, after listening to the two of you and sharing the possibilities, what you can do with AI, it is definitely, I view it now as a tool to help me be more successful quicker. And it does not sound like, it takes a lot of, learning and planning and sitting at the computer to figure it out. So I want to just thank you for sharing your knowledge and making this more accessible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For saying
Yeah, I just encourage people to experiment.
Yeah.
You don't run a marathon, you run for 5 minutes, and then maybe the next day you run for 10 minutes. You just start running little experiments, and then it activates your curiosity. Well, what if I try this? I wonder what would happen if I did this. And so for me, that's what kind of propels me to stay in this is, waking up. I used to wake up in the middle of the night with these prompt ideas, and I just couldn't sleep for the first few months. And yeah, activate your creativity and let it go.
Yeah, and I see Michelle is doing that. She's been playing on Chat GPT and is coming up with some really good stuff. And so that's, the more you use it, the better it'll get. It's a learning tool. It's learning about you. It's a learning about how you want to receive information. And the more it knows, the more it knows. Which can be good or bad, especially if you don't want it to have a lot of information about you. Well, it does. And interestingly, I had asked ChatGPT a question. I said, "Hey, what do you think my relationship style is?" And it quickly responded. That said, "Well, based upon how you've responded and all of this, you have an anxiety, anxious avoidant relationship style." And I thought, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Spot on.
So, and then I said, well, can you give me some strategies that I can better deal with my heart? And it did. It identified some somatic practices. It gave me some ideas for some tappings that I can do on myself. And, you know, they've been working. And, you know, as I really handle a lot of my resistance to a lot of things, you know, more and better stuff comes my way. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Well, I want to
The
thank you.
dreads look fabulous.
Thank you.
you. No, I'm just kidding.
Yours too, Lee.
Oh,
And with that, I can go.
oh, there you go.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone for joining. Those that are going to be listening on replay, follow the email. It'll be chock full of information. I look forward to our one-on-one free consultation. Lee, I want to thank you for your wisdom, your guidance, and wishing you all a great day. Take care.
Likewise. Thanks, everyone. And thank you, Bonita. Gigi, we can